Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Build with AI Regional Ambassador Talks, where we interview some of the most innovative ambassadors from across the globe about their stories, projects, and thought leadership. Today, we have Danielle, who has worked over 13 years in the ICT sector in her home country of Cameroon. She has noticed the digital gap persistently existing between low-income countries and the developed world, and she is currently a telecommunications project engineer at CIP-NHH, and has been in charge of planning, coordinating, and directing a major telecommunications project. She has a long list of achievements and is involved with many extracurricular activities, including, but not limited to, what she's going to talk to us about today. And today, she's going to talk to us about how we can address the innovation divide by building digital innovation systems. Welcome, Danielle. How's it going?
I'm okay, thank you, Jensen. Happy to be here.
Great. So I know that you have a few slides to share with the audience. Would you like to put them up now, or would you like to give a bit of a preface?
Sure, you can. Maybe I can just first tell the audience why I choose this topic to share with you. It's
Yep.
because, it's because as part of the Build with AI hackathon, it's an event, a global event that has driven innovators, students, companies, organizations to prototype ideas in order to address real time global challenges. And
Mm,
after this kind of event, what is next to be done? Does these quality initiatives and talents have just to stay on slides or in GitHub repository? They need to have, no, for me, no. For me, they need to have a kind of mature environment that will enable them to see these quality ideas implemented and grow and skills in order to bring betterment to humanity and to the world. So that's why I choose this topic. Thank you very much.
okay. Thank you for that introduction, Danielle. I'm just going to put up your slides now, and then you can walk through them as you please.
Okay, thank you very much, Jensen. So that's me, as you just introduced, and thank you very much. And my desire to address digital gap, at first it was about digital gap. I realized that we should no more talk about digital gap because digital gap is it's a problem that affects all people from all walks of life. The access to high speed internet or access to reliable devices. And many of the individuals who struggle with digital gap face both lack of internet access and lack of relevant devices to work. But today, and we've seen with the pandemic, this divide has been a little bit closed or a
Mm,
little bit narrowed. Nevertheless, it has also um, highlight other people, other communities who are still lacking these kinds of accesses. But with this access, you now have technology at the tip of your finger. You now have technology you can leverage to have the knowledge and also go through initiatives like going to the competition like a hackathon to leverage your knowledge and bring something new. So technology is available. So, and
mm.
now what is left is how can we use that technology to evolve, to develop, and to bring economy to our side. So I think that is my struggle for the moment, and I can go for the next slide. Thank you very much. Next
Okay.
slide. Thank you.
Do you see the next slide? What is innovation?
Yes, yes. The next slide is about, I think, digital innovation. Yes, because I want my audience, who are particularly students and innovators, to understand what digital innovation is. Is simply as defined by the Organization of Economic and Cooperation and Development. It simply put the implementation of new and significantly improved products. That product may be a good or a service, and that's what participants at hackathons are required to do. And it also can be an implementation of new processes or new organizational methods in business practices, like building new business models that will meet the needs of the current customers. It can also be a new organizing new external relations. So with this in mind, we understand what digital innovation is. And digital innovation is driven by what are called ICT-led technologies, by exponential technologies. Why exponential? Because these technologies are flourishing, are growing faster than human brain can even capture. But these technologies are available now to everyone. So that's what I can say about digital innovation. And now, how do we close the digital divide? How do we narrow it? What is it first?
Mm.
And that's what I can explain in the next slide. So the digital, no, this is the digital ecosystem, the
The
digital
next one.
innovation divide. Yes. Or we go back to the yes. The digital innovation divide is a kind of missing opportunity in embracing digital innovation, in taking advantage of this exponential technology. And I have the opportunity to listen and to come across some talks from Salim Ismail, who is an economist and entrepreneur, chairman at OpenEXO, who predicted that exponential organizational innovation are using now this technology in order to build faster, in order to address faster problems, and simply because technology and access to it are growing cheaper in a way that theoretically they are becoming ubiquitous. So they are available everywhere, these technologies. And if you don't use them, if you don't apply them in solving your daily problem in business, particularly, you are left behind. You
Mm.
are not with those who are using them in order to drive the in order to drive innovation and shape the global economy. So while the world, for example, waits for cheaper technology and the omnipresent access of this technology, how might we now increase, for example, here in Cameroon, how might we now increase the human capacity to take advantage of these technologies, of these innovations? This is where I believe comes into account building digital innovation ecosystem, which is absolutely an imperative. And another thing that I really want to talk to raise to share about this digital innovation divide is about the divide is between those who have access to technology, to the infrastructure, and also to the laws or policies that enable the environment to use them, and those who don't have access to. And this divide also is between the those who live in environments where entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystems are supportive for entrepreneurs, and those who live in environments where bureaucracy, red tape, other hurdles like corruption are preventing entrepreneurs, innovators from taking initiatives and experience this technology. And so that's where I was saying, that's why I say this is an imperative to fight that, building digital innovative ecosystem. And we can go to the next slide, please, Jensen. So, what is digital innovation ecosystem? The ITU, the International Telecommunication Union, defines it as a kind of system of network where organizations, stakeholders, participants from all sort of sectors come together, interconnect together, and interact together, playing role taking actions to come and address challenges that most people face within their communities. So organizations and communities should no more be siloed entities. We're now all sharing the same ecosystem. As Gartner, for example, says, it is a kind of interdependent group of actors sharing standardized digital platforms to achieve mutually beneficial purpose. And I love that mutually beneficial purpose. In other words, this kind of organization or platform or digital innovation ecosystems are no more a special or particular business, but kind of industries. And we now have to leverage them. Each individual, each innovator, each community, each company, each organization in order to bring growth in our economy. So the next slide will be about sharing what is made up of digital innovation ecosystem. Who are the stakeholders? Who are the actors? Who are the ones who are building and making this environment being favorable, being important, being relevant for innovation and our global economy to grow? For me, I will first talk about entrepreneurs because it's absolutely um, evident that entrepreneurs are at the core of a digital innovation ecosystem because they are the one who build companies. They are the one who deliver new solutions with their companies. They are the one who participate in all stages of the innovation life cycle, from ideation to implementation, growth, and scale. And they do not do that alone, of course. They need a kind of support, what ITU define as the entrepreneurial support networks. And this particular stakeholder of the digital innovation ecosystem is made up of innovation hubs, incubators, accelerators, and their role and the action they take is very important. They guide startups, for example, through the development life cycle. And beside them, beside this first group of stakeholders of entrepreneurs support networks, we also have communication organizations. They are the one in the digital innovation ecosystem who promote innovators. We have the example with your platform, Hackmakers, and with Slack, who uses, who enables, for example, the event to go on and to be promoted for the participant and the audience. So these are two main stakeholders in the ecosystem. And next we have the private sector. What do the private sector do? These are first incumbent companies and also established small and medium enterprises and groups that represent the interests of the private sector, such as chambers of commerce. And is their role in the digital innovation ecosystem? Their particular role is to explore opportunities that disrupt the traditional way of doing things, that disrupt the traditional business model in order to raise the attention of the entrepreneurs to create new business models. And now we have the private sector, the public sector, excuse me, which is made up of the government, the nation within which the ecosystem is, or other nations who are participating in a global ecosystem. And their role in the ecosystem, in the digital innovation ecosystem, is to regulate, bring out policies in order to help other entities of the digital innovation ecosystem to move their own task forward. These also are international organizations. And we have the finance sector. the finance sector, and everyone knows how much is very important, because without finance, I don't think anything can move forward. They are made up, this sector is particularly made up of investors that support the different stages of the startup life cycle, from prototyping to critical public offering. And they include investors, they include seed funds, they include crowdfunding communities, and they include venture capitalists and so on, and even banks. And last but not least, we have academia. And I love this too because it's where innovation begins. It's where research is done in order to find out what is new that can be done. You have educational institutions, you have research institutions, you have training centers, and their role to support the digital innovation to sustain and grow is to conduct primary research in their domain, is to help building the capacity of human capital in order to make young take the role of the older next for the next days to come. And their role also is to encourage the development of young innovators. So these are the main six key holders of a digital innovation ecosystem that has identified the International Telecommunication Union in order to drive innovation and shape the global economy. So I think if there is any question I would like to answer before we continue to the next slide.
Do you have any questions in the comment section?
For the moment, no, I don't think so. No
I've got
questions.
Murad, and Jack speaking online. It's great to have a bit of a small audience this time.
Sure, thank you,
If there's any
Jack.
questions, please put it down in the chat, and we'll happy Danielle will be happy to answer them.
So while waiting for the question, I think I will just draw out the key takeaways from this presentation and from what I really want to share with my audience is that digital innovation is driven by emerging exponential technologies. And this is the cornerstone of building social, professional, and academia networks. We, where everyone is actor and has actions to take and has role to play for the benefit of the whole. We are no longer in siloed entities. We are called to work together. Because if you see yourself as a sort of spider in the center of the web, you constrain creativity and the contribution of the partners and the stakeholders. We all now share a kind of ecosystem where we are we have to we have to work together where our efforts have to be a synergy of actions to be taken and to drive innovation and shape the global economy. So that's what I can say. And for the next step, the next slide is about the conclusion and a sort of call to action. What I really want to make people to know, it might be the students or the participants at the hackathons or the innovators or the policymakers or the actors of life. Let's embrace digital inclusion by taking two main actions. First, embracing and adopting technologies, ICT-based innovation and entrepreneurship. And second, by fostering collaboration between universities, industries, government, the private sector, in a way that the synergy of our actions enables solving communities' challenges for a better humanity and for a better world. That's what I can say. So thank you very much.
Great. I'll just leave this final slide up for the audience. Would you like to give them a way to contact you if they have any other questions in the future, or would you be happy for us to collect them and then send it to you privately?
Yes, I will be very happy to. My contact is my email and my LinkedIn URL, my LinkedIn, and you also can contact me. Yes, my email and my LinkedIn, where I can follow up the question. Thank you very much, Jason.
No worries. Um, Great. Thank you so much, Danielle. We are very encouraged by your expertise and your advice. And we hope that teams use it to take their hackathon's idea to the next to hackathon ideas to the next level, but also to shape the future of policy making, even when they start to begin their careers either in policy or in the private sector. Just to foster that kind of innovation ecosystem that we're all striving to achieve. Um, I think that's everything from our end. We're going to make sure that this speech gets the coverage it deserves. We're going to be putting it onto our LinkedIn channels and onto our Facebook pages, perhaps in small snippets, because I think what you have to say is quite valuable and quite important, and it deserves a little bit more coverage than we're receiving now. But thank you so much for your time, and
Great.
I hope the audience will get something valuable out of this. Thank you.
Definitely. I hope so. Thank you very much, Jensen. It's been a pleasure. Thank you and bye.
Thank you.